Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Pleb Underground. I'm your host, Phil. That's right, guys. The signal without the slop. Let's dive into it. We've got, hey, you know what? Happy Friday. We've got a whole lot of stuff to cover. Let's take a look at what we are going to be talking about. So for the Hopium, we've got Lugano, sorry. The Lugano conference is going on. Got a picture from there looking very cool. Shout out to Oz. We got some Trump comments, Tesla, Hopium, US debt all-time highs, Santa Claus rally setting up. We've got some interesting comments there. Next, Strike. Strike is building BTC-backed line of credit. Now, this kind of falls in line with something that I've said before. We are going to dive into that a little bit further. Of course, Paper Bitcoin Summer. There's always something fun happening there. And Multisig is getting an upgrade. Guys, get ready for a fun Hopium-filled Friday episode. That's right. There's going to be so much Hopium today that it's going to be pants dropping. That's how that's how crazy it's going to be. But you know the deal. Before we dive into that, shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, Archimedes Emporium, and we're going to be right back to dive into all the fun. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, so as you guys know, there is, well, you may know or you may not know, but the Lugano conference is going on, and yeah, shout out to Oz here. Nice little picture of the Plan B forum, looking very cool. I love the orange pills. Orange pills are like my it's kind of my favorite swag. Anyways, good stuff going on out there. Lots of signal. I'm seeing lots of pictures, and it's looking fun. Am I having FOMO? Meh. I don't really like to travel. So I'm having FOMO looking at the pictures, but everything around it I don't really care to do. Anyways, moving on, guys. Let's dive into the serious Hopium. All right, we're gonna start off slow. Okay, we're gonna start off slow. Nice little comment, right? Bring everybody in, make them comfortable. So start off with a comment from Trump.
It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. My administration.
Okay, so he's excited about crypto. We like that. See, like I said, starting off small, right? All right. Now we're gonna move into something a little bit better. Is Brian Armstrong, which I'm not a fan of Coinbase, but is Brian Armstrong signaling we are gonna get this Santa Claus rally, or that we are preparing for the Santa Claus rally? Let's listen to his comments here.
With the Democrats in the Senate and on the Republican side today. And the good news is that there is strong bipartisan support and will to get this market structure legislation done. It's important for America, and the 50 million Americans who've used crypto want to see it get done. And so one date we heard floated was, let's try to get this markup done before Thanksgiving. I think that there's 90% of the issues are already aligned on and agreed, and there's draft text going back and forth, a lot of great cross-functional collaboration happening. That last 10% are the remaining issues, and everyone committed to get in the room together and work it out, and hopefully we'll see.
It's interesting, right? It's almost like leading into Halloween, there's been this kind of shakeout, right? Like trying to just shake out some weak hands by essentially the markets. What's interesting, though, is that because traditional markets are signaling strength, right? Dow Jones, NASDAQ, all of that stuff is kind of sitting at or near all-time highs, right? But Bitcoin is somehow struggling at 110K or 111K. Anyways, look, I'm not going to dive into the mechanics of, what is going on with the mainstream media. However, this does seem to line up with a Santa Claus rally. So you know what? I'm taking that Hopium. This is what I want. Okay. So I'm going to say that that's what's going on, but maybe that's not enough, right? Maybe we need a whole lot more Hopium. Just maybe. Okay, here we go. How about this from Vanek?
have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16%.
No, it doesn't. That doesn't sound extreme at all.
16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme. So into the millions over the medium term is a high conviction call.
Yeah. You'll notice how excited he is about the banks holding Bitcoin, right? Yeah, that's good stuff. Don't give them your Bitcoin, plebs. Hang on to it as much as you can. Okay. They want it. They want it. But they're going to pretend that they don't. And they're going to tell you that their state-sponsored stablecoin crap is way better, more useful, da-da-da. None of that's true. Okay. None of that's true. All they really want is your Bitcoin. Anyways, let's keep going, guys. Because, of course, always more hopium, right? It's always more hopium to kick it off. Okay, so here we go, guys. October's pullback marks a liquidity-driven mid-cycle reset, not a bear market, with leveraged normalizing and on-chain activity rising. What does that mean? That means that we have just been consolidating and Bitcoin has been building support. It's that simple. And of course, that's my take as well, is that the bull market isn't over yet. I'm not seeing the signs. I'm not seeing the exuberance. I mean, I know that yesterday we showed the interview of that guy, Nas Daily there, talking with, what is it? Salinas or whatever his name is there out of Mexico. We all know that was kind of like a signal for the last cycle. Right, he had that interview with Sam Bankman-Fried talking about, the philanthropist wanting to give money away, and now all of a sudden he did this interview. But guys, that has nothing to do with this. Okay, the bull market, in my eyes, is still intact. I am going to find out if I am correct or not. But yeah, I'm not seeing the exuberance. I am not seeing the panic, and I just don't think we're there yet. So I'm still hanging on to my popcorn and I'm watching the show. Anyways, Tesla kept its Bitcoin. Good for Tesla. Tesla confirms it did not sell any of its $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin in Q3 2025. Good for Tesla. We don't talk about SpaceX enough because they're not a publicly traded company yet, but SpaceX has held Bitcoin for a very long time. And right, they don't even really talk about it. I appreciate that. Right? I appreciate that these businesses just hodl their Bitcoin. It's good stuff. Hey, good morning, ABW. There you go. Yeah. Cold deck, I agree, right? October monthly candle is uckery. Wreck the longs, wreck the short. That's right. That is exactly right. It signals that, we don't know what's about to happen, right? Could be anything. I don't know if you want to be here. Right? Better be safe than sorry. That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate the adrenaline. Hey, only Bitcoin. Good morning. That's right. Greetings and hallucinations. Happy Friday. Okay. On to more Hopium, guys. It doesn't end, right? It's Friday. I'm thinking of making Fridays official Hopium days, where I just pile as much Hopium as I possibly can into Friday, so that the weekend we don't even know what to think anymore. We're just completely brain dead on Hopium. Public companies. Bitcoin holdings have more than doubled in 2025, rising from 55 billion to 117 billion. Hey, TFTC, good job with this one. This is a chart that comes from Bitcoin for corporations. Yeah. Hey, look, more companies are holding Bitcoin. The question is, how many of them are going to be able to afford to hold Bitcoin through the downturns? That is who I am. Obviously, I'm excited to see that, right? Because we're about to find out how resilient some of these businesses are. Anyways, so look, you got that $3 million prediction from Van Eck, right? But that's like 2050, right? I mean, who can wait for that? Maybe we need a better prediction sooner. Well, here we go, guys. Standard Charter doing it again. Doing it again. Bitcoin could hit 200K by end of year, guys. We are so close. We are so close to that 200K in purchasing power. I could just taste it. I can taste it. Okay. All right. Moving on. More Hopium. I think this is. I think this is going to be the last piece of. Oh no, second to last piece of Hopium. Okay. So JP Morgan expects the Fed to end quantitative tightening next week. It's kind of funny because we never stop actually printing money. We just print more or less money, but we're always printing money. So anyways, look, that signals to the market that, hey, right? Times are looking better. We're going up. Okay. All right. We'll take it. We'll see. And then last but not least, a company humbly stacking Bitcoin. And nobody cares. Nobody cares because they're not huge, right? They're not some rich company, but you know what? I care. So Westmain self-storage buys 0.091 additional Bitcoin and now holds a total of 1.129 BTC. I could tell you, I really believe that this company, their Bitcoin is way more important to them than some of these massive freaking treasury companies that have zero revenue, no business models, and just sit there holding their corn. I know it's a mean opinion, but whatever. That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, moving on, because of course, guys, we are not done with that. Let's take a look at the Strike news. I think the Strike news is pretty interesting. Jack Mallers reveals that Strike is building a BTC-backed line of credit that lets users borrow fiat in real time to make lightning payments or pay bills without selling their BTC. And of course, without selling your BTC is always we'll say the most desirable of outcomes, right? It depends on what your liquidation price is, but that's not even what my point is for this story. My point for this particular story is this, and I've been saying this now from the ICAST. Good morning. So what's going to happen, what I believe is going to happen, because it's a no-brainer, Strike is going to be a part of 21, which is currently right now CEP. Right? Ticker symbol CEP. It's Cantor Fitzgerald Equity Partners, right? And they are bringing 21 public, right? 21 is the company that is run by Cantor Fitzgerald. They're his son. Anyways, I'm like totally forgetting this guy's name, but it doesn't make a difference. Lutnick, Howard Lutnick. That's right. His son, right? His son is if I'm not mistaken, the CEO or the president of 21, and Jack Mallers is by his side. And you guys will see, lo and behold, right? Because it's totally a no-brainer. CEP needs a front-end vehicle. That's what I believe. And I believe that we're going to see this happen in the news where Strike is simply just going to be bought over or integrated into CEP. I mean, they're going to make it so that, Strike shareholders get their day in the sun, right? Their payday. But the point is that they're going to be merging these two companies, and it is a perfect fit. So why not? I am not so sure, though, about the whole living off of your Bitcoin and never, essentially borrowing against it forever. I mean, obviously, I believe that Bitcoin's going up, right? I believe it's going up forever because the money printing never ends. However, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to time this type of stuff, and it may not end up serving them as positively as they believe. Anyways, to each their own, right? Everybody's going to make their own decisions. Everybody has their own risk tolerance. I'd rather not borrow against my Bitcoin. And again, that means that I may end up having less Bitcoin in the future. But for me, my goal is to be able to sleep at night. So I'm very pleased with my current scenario, and I can sleep at night. So that's where my stuff, that's where it ends. Okay. I still do think it's a good thing for Strike, though. Okay, paper Bitcoin updates, guys. We don't have too much paper Bitcoin updates. Vanguard Group, Information Technology Index Fund, right? The VGT has bought $11.2 million worth of Bitcoin treasury company Strategy, now holding 1.7 million shares. For a company that hates Bitcoin and more importantly, hates its customers because they want Bitcoin, I find this very entertaining that they keep buying shares of businesses that hold Bitcoin because they just don't want, or I don't know what the real reason is, but they can't buy Bitcoin. Whatever it is that Vanguard has, whatever mental block Vanguard has created in order to prove or to sustain that idea that like you shouldn't own Bitcoin. But look at this. Look at these mental gymnastics, guys. All they're doing is buying shares of companies that hold Bitcoin because guess what? They don't want to miss out. Right? They don't want to miss out. And let's face it, they also understand that if they miss out, their customers are going to punish them because, yes, that's how this works, right? How do you punish these businesses? You take your money away from them, right? That's how it works. And this is another reason why Bitcoin is so great, because once you have enough Bitcoin, it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they take their money away from you. Anyways, moving on. Let's go take a look. Okay, guys, the multi-sig news. I think this one's pretty interesting. So BitKey, right? BitKey, which is a block product, or people might know Square. Anyways, Jack Dorsey. Okay, it's a Jack Dorsey product. It is the Jack Dorsey signing device / hardware wallet. I do know a couple of people that have one. They really do like the user experience. I'll leave it at that. But let's dive into what BitKey is doing here. They're proposing a new Bitcoin improvement proposal called chain code delegation, a major step forward for multi-sig privacy. Instead of sharing full chain codes, it withholds them entirely. Cosigners get only the minimal info needed to sign a transaction without learning balances or related activity. This means multi-party wallets like corporate treasuries or family vaults. So this is kind of interesting because when you think about Saylor's comments about, oh no, we don't want the public. This is why they don't want to show their Bitcoin holdings, supposedly, right? Their addresses is because, right, they see it as a security risk. Well, under this, security risk gone. There you go. Not too bad. So yeah, this means multi-party wallets like corporate treasuries or family vaults can now have cosigners that help recover funds or set spending limits without seeing your transaction history. Authored by current and former BitKey engineers, the proposal aims to become an open standard any wallet can adopt. BitKey will be the first to implement it, enabling truly private collaborative custody, a first in Bitcoin. Hey, look, I got to tell you, I do think that is a win. That's kind of been one of the I guess you would say that has been one of the sticking points, right? Is that everybody can see your balances, and essentially there's always criticism about Bitcoin's privacy, right? Like, yes, you can indeed make Bitcoin more private, right? You can run your Bitcoin node from behind Tor. You could also do it behind a VPN. If you choose, you can use stuff like CoinJoin to obfuscate where the Bitcoin was and where it came from, right? You can do all of these different types of things, or you could even use Lightning, right? If you use Lightning, nobody knows where any of those payments are coming from or where they're going. So I get that, but in terms of the multi-signature stuff, the multi-signature stuff is important because there are, whether we like it or not, there are going to be more and more Bitcoin. There's going to be more and more businesses that are hodling Bitcoin. There's going to be more family offices that are going to be hodling Bitcoin, and these types of solutions are what to me make this much better of a user experience, right? It's these small steps, right? It's not just like this one thing and that's it, we're ready to go. It's all of these things. So anyways, good stuff for that. Got to give it to BitKey on that one. Yeah, iCust, that's right. It's a Dorsey product, man. It's and look, I do know a few people that use it. They love it. They think it's amazing. Personally, I don't like how much information is abstracted away from the user. So I'm personally not using it. But like I said, there's some people who really enjoy it. Anyways, guys, that is, oh no, wait. All right. We've got one last little story. Here we go. Maybe I already mentioned it. I probably did, but I don't think I showed the screenshots. That's right, guys. US total government debt just hit $38 trillion. It's kind of funny because I saw another post that said U.S. debt at new all-time high. So we print money every day. So every day is a new all-time high for U.S. debt. Anyways, guys, have a great weekend. Have fun. Do the good stuff with your families, right? Make some memories, because your family is the only work that's really worth it. And of course, as you guys know, Monday we've got the roundtable Monday night. And get ready, it is going to be spicy AF. Spicy AF. We're going to upset a whole lot of people. You're going to want to tune in. Anyways, have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend. And I will catch you Monday again, 12:10 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, we're going to do the news. And then again, Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Catch you then. Have a great weekend.